I know you feel it, that uncontrollable urge to save all of humanity, to save people from themselves, right? Oh, you don't? Well, some people do. What those people don't realize is that most of the time they do more harm than they do good. What am I talking about? Well, I could be talking about a million different things that people feel like they need to ban or regulate, but this time I'm talking about e-cigarettes. There's a reason e-cigarettes have become a booming industry, and it's because the market is responding to a product superior to traditional cigarettes. Most people want to quit smoking, and e-cigarettes are one possible alternative. This tobacco-free smoking substitute, it costs less, it doesn't stain your teeth, it lacks the unpleasant smell, there are no butts to be thrown all over the streets, users have a choice in their level of nicotine intake, and there's no risk of setting your house on fire. As far as the health aspect of e-cigarettes are concerned, according to a 2011 study in the Journal of Health Policy, few, if any, chemicals at levels detected in electronic cigarettes raise serious health concerns. A preponderance of the evidence shows e-cigarettes to be much safer than tobacco cigarettes and comparable in toxicity to conventional nicotine replacement products. According to the CDC, tobacco use is the single most preventable cause of disease, disability, and death in the United States. Each year, an estimated 443,000 people die prematurely from smoking or exposure to secondhand smoke, and another 8.6 million live with a serious illness caused by smoking. The Associated Press reported that a trade group is voluntarily encouraging convenience stores and gas stations not to sell cigarettes to minors. Henry Armour, the industry group's president and CEO, said in an interview with the Associated Press that, quote, "We are sitting on the front lines. It is our responsibility to make sure that children don't have access to e-cigarettes in the event that they are risky products and could lead to somebody starting to smoke tobacco products. The market is responding before the government, as usual." According to the New York Times, Dr. Michael Siegel, a hard-charging public health researcher at Boston University, argues that e-cigarettes could be the beginning of the end of smoking in America. He sees them as a disruptive innovation that could make cigarettes obsolete, like the computer did to the typewriter. However, some people want vaping to be treated exactly like traditional cigarettes. Cities like Chicago and New York have already banned vaping indoors, and to do it, they're using a fallacy of either you're with us or you're against the children. Imagine that. Opponents of vaping also think if kids see people vaping indoors, that it'll undo the work that went into making smoking cigarettes seem unappealing. This basically means they're against it because it looks like smoking cigarettes, regardless of how different it actually is. So, just to be clear, people who are calling for these bans are essentially taking the responsibility away from parents and business owners. They're attempting to further relinquish the role of parenting and self-governance to politicians and bureaucrats. One could argue that we should just require that they not look like cigarettes. But believe it or not, that element is really important to some smokers who are attempting to either quit or just change to a safer alternative. Smoking addiction is one part chemical dependence and one part ritualistic experience. If smokers want to cut out traditional cigarettes, the easiest way to do that is for the substitute to be shaped the same, emulate the light from the cherry, and have a smoke-like vapor to exhale. Some condemn offering a variety of flavors to choose from because they see it as appealing to kids, as if adults don't appreciate taste. Caffeine is bad for children, yet we have creamers that make coffee taste like Girl Scout cookies, and alcohol comes in every flavor under the sun, including chocolate. Personally, I'd like to see people promoting e-cigarettes because I find regular cigarettes disgusting. I'm an ex-smoker, so I know how hard it is to quit. If your criteria for banning e-cigarettes is that you don't know what the long-term effects are, then think about the fact that we do know what the long-term effects of smoking are. If helping people quit smoking is your goal, then you should be promoting alternatives, not banning them. So, let's ignore the health issues for 1 second, and let's talk about your rights. You don't have a right to not be around a certain smell. I would say that that's common sense, but it really seems like it's not. When you tell a business owner that they can't allow smoking in their establishment, whether it's regular cigarettes or e-cigarettes, you are telling someone what they can and cannot do with their own property, when they aren't even infringing on your own rights in any way. No one is forcing you to go into that business. If you don't like a business that allows smoking of any kind, then don't go in there or boycott that company. Tell the whole world that you don't like their policies. But don't use the government to ban it. Businesses respond very well to social pressure in the market. And why is that? Because if they publicly look bad, it affects their bottom line. The profit incentive drives the need for businesses to respond to social pressures. The political incentives that politicians get from passing legislation to ban smoking is no better than the economic incentives that businesses get from either choosing to allow smoking or not allowing smoking. The political incentives politicians have for using legislation to ban a product in the market are not only selfish, but they're incredibly harmful to our economy. Every ban and new regulation is taking money out of the pockets of everyday people. These nanny state bureaucrats and politicians, they don't care that they're stealing from people. What they care about is re-election and self-preservation. Using the government to control the choices of consenting adults is really insulting. People who do that are telling everyone that you're too stupid to make your own decisions. When you already know the harmful effects of tobacco use, it makes no sense to try and apply the precautionary principle to e-cigarettes. If your goal is to help other people, don't ban their choices. You have no right.